This is Algebra 2, Unit 10, Lesson 11A on synthetic division. Synthetic division is just another way to divide polynomials. It's a shortcut, and it only works if your binomial that you're dividing by is in the form x minus k. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this process. It can be used instead of long division, but it depends on how the question is asked. If you're asked to use long division, you have to, but if not, you could use this way. So let's try out the process. So if I want to divide negative x cubed plus 4x squared plus 9 by x minus 3, what you're going to be dealing with is just the coefficients of the polynomial. So we want to start with the polynomial coefficients in descending order, and there has to be one for every single place. So we have negative x cubed, 4x squared, and then 9. So notice we're missing an x term, so this is actually negative x cubed plus 4x squared plus 0x plus 9. There has to be one in every single place. So my coefficients would be negative 1 from here, 4, 0, and 9. So those are my coefficients of what I'm dividing right here. Now, the next thing is write the k value of the divisor binomial on the outside. So we know this is x minus 3. So remember, this is in the form x minus k. So if this is x minus 3, that means that your k value is actually going to be 3, not minus 3. So your k value is going to be 3. So here is the process. We bring down the leading coefficient. This comes down here to be negative 1. And then we kind of treat it like division, long division. We multiply. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, and we put that here. Now add down the columns. So we multiply by the k value, write the product here, add down the column. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. And then we repeat the process. We take this value, multiply it by 3, put it here. So this comes down. We multiply here. Add the column down. 0 plus 3 is 3. Repeat the process. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. Okay, so we have gone all the way to the end. So you keep repeating this process until you get to the end, and then you stop. Now, what we have just worked out is this value right here. Okay, this is the remainder. That is the remainder. So these coefficients that we ended up with, the first three numbers in the bottom row, are the coefficients of the quotient. So remember, we actually dividing by x minus 3. So this coefficient is going to be 1 less than what we divided by. So since we ended up with the process negative 1, 1, 3, and then 18, 18 is going to be your remainder. So what we have just ended up with is negative 1 was my first coefficient I ended up with. That will be x squared because it's 1 less than this one. The next term was 1x, and then plus 3, and then the 18 was the remainder, so we write it as plus 18 over x minus 3. So you can see negative 1 x squared, 1x, plus 3, and then this is the remainder. You can see where it came from. Negative 1, 1, 3, and then there's the 18. So that is the process of synthetic division. So we use the coefficients, multiply by the k term, add down the columns, and just keep repeating. When you get to the last term, it ends up being the remainder. Now let's try to divide using synthetic division. See if we can repeat the process. All right, so our first step is to make sure that we have the coefficients of all the terms in descending order. So this is x cubed, x squared, x, and minus 5, so there should be 1 for every single one. So starting out, the highest coefficient is a 3. The next coefficient, don't forget the sign, is negative 2. And then we have positive 2, and then we have negative 5. So that would be our coefficients. Now, for the divisor, we have x plus 1. Now remember, it's really x minus k, and we use the k value. So in order to get this to be x plus 1, this would actually have to be the x minus negative 1. So that means that k is going to equal -1. So -1 would actually go out here. Okay, so now that we've got the coefficients and the divisor taken care of, we want to do the process. You bring down the leading coefficient, which is 3. Multiply, -1 times 3 is -3. Add down the columns. -2 plus -3 is -5. Repeat the process. -5 times -1 is +5. Add down the columns. 2 plus 5 is 7. Repeat the process. -1 times 7 is -7. -5 plus -7 is -12. Okay, this value right here will be the remainder. This will be your quotient. So your leading coefficient will be 1 less than what you started with. So this will be 3x squared minus 5x plus 7, and then plus -12 over x plus 1, because this would be the remainder. And there you go. You've got it. So we divided this without having to use long division, but you get the same thing. All right. 2x cubed minus x minus 7, and you want to divide that by x plus 3. Okay, now what are our coefficients going to be? Well, the first one is going to be 2, because it's x cubed. What are we missing? We don't have an x squared term, so this is actually going to be 2x cubed plus 0x squared minus x minus 7. So we have to have a 0 there, or this isn't going to work. So we're going to put the 0 just to hold the place. The x term will actually be -1 is the coefficient, and then -7. Okay, now what is our k value going to be? Well, if this is x plus 3, that's really x minus -3. So that makes k -3. Okay, let's follow the process. Bring the 2 down. 2 times -3 is -6. Add down your columns. 0 plus -6 is -6. -3 times -6 is +18. -1 plus 18 is 17. And then -3 times 17 is -51. Add down your columns, you get -58. So that is your remainder. This is your polynomial coefficient. All right, so or coefficients of your polynomial quotient. So this is going to be 2. Since this is x cubed, this will be x squared minus 6x plus 17, and then plus -58 over x plus 3 is your remainder. So there we go, synthetic division. All right, we have one more. Use synthetic division to evaluate f of x equals 5x cubed minus x squared plus 13x plus 29 when x equals -4. Okay, so if we have synthetic division, we have to set this up first of all with the coefficients. What are my coefficients going to be? They're going to be 5, -1, 13, and 29. There's a 1 for each place. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, now, when x equals -4, well, that means that we could use -4 as a divisor. So we're actually going to divide this by -4. So I'm going to use -4 as my divisor. So this would actually be x plus 4 is equal to 0 if we were going to divide that out. So that would give me an answer of x equals -4. So my divisor is x plus 4, which would make my k value -4. So here is my values. I'm going to use synthetic division. Bring the 5 down, multiply by -4. -4 times 5 is -20. -1 plus -20 is -21. -4 times -21 is 84. Negative times a negative is a positive, be careful. And then 13 plus 84 is 97. And then 97 times -4 is -388. And 29 plus -388 is -359. Okay, so what we just figured out is the remainder is -359. Now, when we talked about the remainder theorem, we said that the remainder will be what it's divided by at that point, correct? So that means that f of -4 will equal the remainder, -359, because of the remainder theorem. Because what we divided by, which was x plus 4, will actually be the remainder at that point. So f of -4 will equal -359. So that's using the remainder theorem. So that is synthetic division.